Hello everyone. How are you? I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Welcome to my channel, The Last of Us 24 and new video your favorite series. The Last of Us. The Last of Us franchise has sold more than 37 million copies since debuting in 2013 and has inspired a hit HBO TV adaptation. But the next game in the series, an online multiplayer project, won't see the light of day. The next game in the popular The Last of Us series has been cancelled. Developer Naughty Dog said it had made the incredibly difficult decision after realizing the project's scope would negatively impact other future titles. How was Machu Picchu discovered? In a blog post, the studio added it knows this news will be tough for fans, and that it was equally crushed. Unlike prior releases from the PlayStation Studio, which is known for single-player, story-driven blockbusters, the cancelled game was an online multiplayer experience. Similar to titles like Call of Duty and Fortnite, it would be updated regularly to keep players coming back. Naughty Dog said while it was enthusiastic about the direction of the project, supporting it post-launch would risk severely impacting development on future single-player games. It said such games, such as its Indiana Jones-like Uncharted series, had defined Naughty Dog's heritage. The studio has dabbled in multiplayer in the past, but only as an extra mode of play. The Last of Us, which first released in 2013, had a popular online experience called Factions, which pitted players against one another in competitive shooter matches. It was also meant to be part of 2020's The Last of Us, Part 2, before Naughty Dog decided to spin it off into the separate release that has now been canned. We are immensely proud of everyone at the studio that touched this project, the blog post added. The learnings and investments in technology from this game will carry into how we develop our projects, and will be invaluable in the direction we are headed as a studio. What's next? Naughty Dog's next release is a PlayStation 5 re-release of The Last of Us, Part 2, due in January. While the studio's games are critically acclaimed, it's been criticized for milking its post-apocalypse zombie series, having released 3 versions of the original installment between 2013 and 2022. It is no doubt seeking to capitalize on the popularity of HBO's TV adaptation, which arrived earlier this year. But its blog post said it also had more than one ambitious, brand-new single-player game in the works. The maker of the blockbuster video game The Last of Us, which was adapted into the hit HBO series by the same name earlier this year, announced that it would cancel development of its long-anticipated online multiplayer version of the game. We realize many of you have been anticipating news around the project that we've been calling The Last of Us Online, the developer, Naughty Dog, said in the announcement Thursday. There's no easy way to say this. We've made the incredibly difficult decision to stop development on that game. The studio said the decision to drop the game had come after it became clear that it would have needed to commit resources for years to come at the expense of future single-player games. Naughty Dog said it was faced with 2 options: to become a solely live service game studio or continue to focus on single-player narrative games that have defined Naughty Dog's heritage. It chose the second option. Work on The Last of Us Online started at the same time Naughty Dog began development on the single-player follow-up, The Last of Us Part 2. That game was released in 2020. Anxious fans of the video game got an inkling that The Last of Us Online was in trouble after the developer shared an update in May. We're incredibly proud of the job our studio has done so far. But as development has continued, we've realized what is best for the game is to give it more time, the update read. The Last of Us follows a bereaved father and a teenage girl as the unlikely pair traverses a post-apocalyptic America ravaged by the global outbreak of a zombifying fungal infection. The plot was critically acclaimed after the game's release in 2013, and the 2023 television adaptation starring Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey, earned 24 Emmy Award nominations. The death of The Last of Us Online was a particular disappointment to fans of The Last of Us Factions, a limited in-game online multiplayer experience that was available in certain releases of The Last of Us game. Naughty Dog's announcement drew a mixed reaction from the gaming community online. Some agreed that the studio was better off focusing on new single-player games, while others questioned the studio's apparent lack of foresight.